In a game that you needed a performance like that the most from your offense, I mean, it feels really good. It really does. And really a lot of great things to take away from this football game. I thought you finally put together a complete ball game. It was impressive. A really, really impressive. I have a lot of good to say about what we saw tonight. Very impressed with what LaNorris's put together. His best performance of the entire season. Really of the entire season. When you have 4 touchdowns like that and you put on a clinic, man, you showed a lot of people why you can be one of the best players in college football. And for the majority of that football game, you controlled it from start to finish. It's a bad football team. But you know what? It's a game where you knew that you had to come in and set the tone. Because if you got off to a slow start offensively like you had gotten the last several games, there was going to be a lot of issues. There was. Let's just be honest with each other. But South Carolina wins it 51-7 on senior night. A lot of good things at the end of the day. Earl Schubel says, do you think Lane Kiffin leaves for another school this Friday? Hell no. He ain't leaving in the middle of a playoff run. That'd be stupid. The fact that Kiffin is talking negotiations in a season like this, it blows my mind. And I consider it kind of disrespectful and very, very inappropriate, especially for a team that's trying to go on a nice run. Do I think that there was a lot of good today? Yes. Do I think that there was a lot of bad? Not really. I do think you had some mistakes, especially on special teams. That block punt, unacceptable. That's basic stuff that you cannot have happen to you next week. I thought you took too long on the punt. But we'll get into that and a lot more. Every post-game show is brought to you by our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Going over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog Fantasy app on your Apple or Android device and use the promo code VOCFBSC. And when you play your first $5 lineup, you will get $50 instantly in free bets. That's code VOCFBSC. And when you play the first $5 lineup, you'll get $50 instantly in free bets. Must be 21 or older, not available in all states. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That is 1-800-GAMBLER. We have about 67 of you in here, man. I need you guys to do me a favor. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification down below so that you are notified every time we go live here on South Carolina Live, the voice of college football. Next week is your bowl game, man. Next week is your bowl game. This is the one that's going to matter the most. John Edward says next week is the bowl game. Ty Gwynn says, well, we won. Congratulations. Your first win in 2 months. A win is a win. Offensively, very proud of what this team put together. I know it was a bad team. I know that you're going up against one of the worst defenses in the FBS. But, guys, it's a team that it's another FBS team that really you knew that you were going to manhandle. But regardless of that, guys, win is still a win. You'll take what you can get. Let's get into the play-by-play like we do every single week. And this game started off with a bang. And I don't want anybody to go in the comments and say that Mike Furry needs to be the offensive coordinator. Please don't say that, because you're lying to yourself if you do. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. Because you're going to get too ahead of yourself. You're going to see, oh my gosh, we put up almost 600 yards of offense. But look at who you played. Coastal Carolina is bad. Okay? There's nothing else that you can say. You're playing for a state championship next week, guys. You're going to try to own the state of South Carolina. You know, you beat SC State. You beat a team like Coastal. And now you got a chance to take the Palmetto State for yourself. That should be your bowl game. So That's a great way to look at things if you are an optimist. And you started off about like what many people thought that you were going to be. So, first play of the game, you throw to Jaden Sellers. You have really probably the best start to a game that you could have. You throw the quick screen out to Jaden. It's blocked properly, and Jaden's too fast. Boom, 75 yards to the house, first play of the game. Guys, downfield blocking was excellent. That was incredible of a job of blocking that I've seen all year from this team. Really, really good job overall from this program. Can't say anything else better about that first drive. Your first 3 drives, by the way, guys, very, very good. And you only were on the field for 10 plays. You forced a 5 and out. Not really a 5 and out. Tad Hudson would take it and throw to Javin Simpkins over the middle for 6. Javin Simpkins would run up the middle for 6 again, first down. Javin Simpkins goes nowhere. You try to get it out to Bryson Graves, goes nowhere. Judge Collier makes a great play on the ball. 3rd and 10, you play short and you get it to Cam Wright, who goes for 3, goes nowhere. So you got to punt the football. Next play. Guys, you got the run game involved today. You needed explosive plays, and you got them. You certainly got them. Matt Fuller runs for 5. LaNorris would run for 13. LaNorris would throw to Jaden for 42. 2 catches for Jaden, and he's over 110 yards. Wow. Wow. Oh, can anybody ask me this question? Where was Nick Harbor at? What's up with Nick? He's not injured, is he? He was injured. Okay. Well, it's okay. He was still dealing with that rib, or was it his back that he injured on his last catch last week? Y'all can tell me in the comments. You would get a LaNorris Sellers run for 13, first down. You're at the 1-yard line. Matt Fuller up the middle for 1. LaNorris Sellers would go from the shotgun and take it himself and make a gutsy play and get into the end zone for a touchdown. You try to go for 2, and you get cute on that, you wouldn't be able to get it. Very next play, Brian Thomas coming off the edge, bam, makes a big play, and it's recovered by Jalen Kilgore. South Carolina takes advantage of it. You would have a Jared Brown run that gets into the red zone again. 1st and goal. You would throw to Brian Rowe on the sideline, but there's a pass interference on that puts Coastal Carolina at the 2, or that puts you at the 2-yard line. Brady Hunt would take the direct snap from his under center. Boom, gets it in, touchdown. 20-0, just like that. First quarter was flawless. Jaden Sellers got the football, and you got him working. Guys, Jaden Sellers has a very bright future here. But it's all going to depend on what his brother does, man. It's all going to depend on what he does. You force a 3 and out. Roswell Faison would run for 3. Matt Fuller would run for 19. Roswell Faison run for 3. LaNorris would throw to Mazio Bennett. LaNorris would run for 3. 4th and 1, you punt the football. And I thought you could really done some damage on the ground. And I thought you could have gone for it on 4th. Obviously, that wasn't the case. What does defense do? Draw up the middle for 1. Doesn't go anywhere. Guys, Sean Murphy was all over the field tonight. Give him some Give him some flowers. I thought he played like an NFL linebacker, man. I thought Sean Murphy's been really good this year. I think he's deserved recognition as maybe a 6th or 7th round linebacker. Oh, 6, 7. You're so funny. No pun intended, I promise. Javon Edwards would go for 1. Tad Hudson throws to Zach Courtney, goes for 18. DQ Smith's got to prevent him from getting any further. I thought on the screen game and on the short game, I thought you struggled to come up and tackle. But I thought you made up for it because it's a bad team. You can't do this next week against Clemish. From that team up north, I guess. Are they up north? I don't give a shit. But wouldn't matter because you would get a shutdown for nothing. Tad Hudson would throw to English to get you 5. Now they've got a drive going. They're on your other side of the field. Hudson throws to English, goes for 3. You would have Dominic Kinsley that goes for 2. Tad Hudson would go up the middle for 30. First down. Can't have these things, guys. You've given up 2 third down plays, and you're shooting yourself in the foot. Can't do it. Cannot do it. But you get bailed out. You would have a Javon Edwards run for 2. Tad Hudson would throw for 9. Boom. Get you to the 3rd and 3. You make a stop. J.R. Johnson makes a hell of a tackle. And you force a turnover on downs. Because they go for it on 4th and 2 instead of taking the points. And you go nowhere. What does LaNorris's, Sellers and company do right afterward? They take advantage of it. Quick game to Jaden Sellers for 3. You'd have a false start. Guys, Boaz Stanley with these false starts, guys. They're gonna hurt you. They're gonna hurt you next week. This offensive line is so bad, guys. This is just a lazy offensive line. I'm sorry, but this is such a lazy team. Good luck, man. You throw to Donovan Murph for 5. You get Jawarn Howell on a swing out that goes for 36, and you're at the Coastal 38-yard line. You'd have a shot to Donovan Murph that's broken up. Jawarn Howell would run for 9. LaNorris would run for 3. Matt Fuller would run for 24 that gets you to the 2-yard line. And LaNorris Sellers would roll out 2 plays later. Find Murph in the back of the end zone, touchdown. About time that you got Donovan Murph involved in this offense. He's barely been seeing much of time, and he finally gets his first touchdown. Guys, he had 4 receptions up till he had, let me count, 3, 5, 7, 9. He had 10 receptions before tonight. He had 4 during this football game. So almost a quarter of his total catches came tonight. Why you are not feeding him the football, that could go to schematics, that could go to whatever it is. You didn't get him the football much this season, and that's on you. That's on you. Rosal Faison would have a big run for 46, first down. LaNorris would throw to Donovan Murph for 12. Just like that, you're knocking on the door of the red zone. LaNorris would have a hell of a run and go for 17, first down. LaNorris would try to go to Donovan Murph again in the corner, but it's broken up. But LaNorris's would take advantage of it, follow his blockers, bam, touchdown. You force another punt, but you'd also shoot yourself in the foot. Second and 10, Jawarn Howell would run for 8. Next play on 3rd and 2, bam, you get shut down. Jawarn Howell only gets 1. You punt the football. It's a bad punt, too. So now Coastal has it at their own 39. So they'd have a run for 5. They would have a run for 8. And then they'd have a pass for 4. Javon Simpkins run for 3. Javon Simpkins for 4. 113. Opportunity for them to get some points on the board. Simpkins run for 4. Simpkins run for 7. I'm sorry, that they weren't even it wasn't even a shank field goal. But they're at the South Carolina 42. Graves would have a bad, would get the ball punched out, but it would get recovered by Bryson Graves again. You force mistakes, man. So now they're backed up at the 50. Hudson would finally get a big throw on 3rd and 25 that gets them in field goal range, but they missed the field goal. So South Carolina's at their 39-yard line. And they make it work. LaNorris's would throw to Brady Hunt on the sideline for 9. LaNorris's would throw for Donovan Murph, but there's Holden. Gets them all on Marquis Anderson. Killed you. You'd have a false start. Deep throw. Bam. Perfect catch to Donovan Murph. Get you all the way to the 29-yard line. Get you set up for Will Joyce to kick a field goal. He gets it. You're up 37-0 at the half. You got points when it mattered most. And you made critical plays when it mattered most. What is my dog barking at? Hey, shut that barking. Coastal gets the football back, though. And they go on a heck of a drive. 15 plays, 58 yards. What does it end up being? Hudson throw. They go to 3 different receivers. They would go to Cam Wright. They would go to Bryson Graves. And they would go to Carmelo English. Bryson Graves for 7. Carmelo Wright for 4. Carmelo Wright for 6. Or Cameron Wright for 6. Carmelo English for 11. You're on the opposite side of the field. Yeah, where is everybody at, by the way? We got 5 people in the YouTube. We have 5 people in the YouTube chat, by the way. Y'all do me a favor. Y'all make sure y'all join the YouTube if you are watching us on Twitter. And make sure y'all do us a favor and repost the game. Y'all repost this stream. That would be a huge favor to us. And guys, if you want to get involved in the show, I'm about to post the link so that you guys can join in the show. There's the StreamYard link. If you want to get involved, there it is on Twitter as well. I'm about to post the call-in number in just a few minutes if you are wanting to get into this game. Tad Hudson would run for 6. 3rd and 2. You get shut down by Brian Thomas because Javon Simpkins is too good of or because Brian Thomas is a dog and he's able to get into the backfield in a hurry. But 4th and 2, opportunity for you to get off the field. You find Malik Manga for 6, first down. Tries to go short to Washington. It's incomplete. Goes back to Bryson Graves for 4. 3rd and 8, or for 2. Big play. Tad Hudson, big interception by DQ Smith, but Game Brownlow Dindy is called for offside, so it's a free play. 3rd and 3. And Javon Edwards gets 3 for a first down. Massive. Massive. They converted a 3rd down and a 4th down on you in the second half. Starting the game off right. Guys, I'm not mad, but I am very frustrated at some plays throughout this game. Dom Kinsley would run for 5. Tad Hudson would throw to Washington for 13. You'd have a timeout by Coastal. Javon Simpkins would run for 2. And on 4th and 4, or looks to, trying to get into Washington again right at the sticks. And Jalen Kilgore makes a big play after Jatius Gear and Brian Thomas Jr. make a play. It's massive, man. Very big play. Call-in number 843-350-2534, 843-350-2534. Phone lines are open, by the way. So y'all make sure y'all get involved in this stream. Offense takes over, and they go on a drive of their own. But you start off, JT gets called for false starts. Wouldn't matter because Jawarn Howell would run for 25. Oh, I lied. Trey Ball. Tro gets called for holding. So now you're backed up all the way inside the 10-yard line. 1st and 18. You have a short throw to Jaden that goes for 7, gets you back to the original line of scrimmage. You throw to Jared Brown for 15. He makes a play. Screen games have been an extension of the run game for quite some time. So you've done a really good job. You did a really, really good job of getting your playmakers the football and making sure that they were able to get involved in this football game. You would have a throw to Jared Brown for 15. Matt Fuller gets shut down for a loss of 3. Brady Hunt would go for 6. 3rd and 7. LaNorris makes a hell of a play. He's able to escape outside the pocket and go for 26. Matt Fuller would run for 2. Matt Fuller would run for 18. Brian Rowe for 3. Brian Rowe on a reverse gets blown up for a loss of 1. He's able to make just barely. He should have lost more. Going to Jared Brown, incomplete. 3rd and 8. It's incomplete. 4th and 8, you go for it from the 18 because you don't want field goals. You get Jawarn Howell for 16, first down. You're at the 2-yard line. Brady Hunt on the quarterback keeper goes for nothing. Brady Hunt on the second try, touchdown. 44-0. You force them a punt, you'd have a 4 and out because this is when you really started to get your backups in the football game. Luke Doty got involved. Rosal was kind of taking majority of the snaps. But back-to-back drives, you get your playmakers. Cutter Woods would get involved. But you'd have a Mason Love blocked punt because nobody ends up taking the middle because your wall was absolutely putrid. Man comes up the middle, bam, touchdown. 44-7. Can't have plays like that, man. It's all right, though, because you get the football right back, and Cutter Woods leads a hell of a drive. You would throw to Brian Rowe. You'd throw to Malik Clark. Jordan Dingle tries to get involved. Maurice Tyler gets a catch at the 34. He fumbles the football, but he recovers it. First down, though. You would have an incompletion to Oscar Attaway. Oscar Attaway would go for 4. Cutter Woods would run for 5. Cutter Woods has some wheels now. I'll give him that. I thought he did really well for the most part. Oscar Attaway would run for 2. Okay, riddle me this. Why the hell was there a targeting call? That wasn't even close to being a targeting. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what was being looked at. But that wasn't targeting. As a South Carolina fan of some sorts, that wasn't targeting. It wasn't. It was a bad call. But it keeps the drive going, and in comes Aaron Nolan. He throw to Mo Brown, it's incomplete. He throw to Brian Rowe for 7. Throw to Brian Rowe again for 6. Aaron Nolan would run for 4. Who got involved in the game? You would get Bradley involved in the football game for 3. Bradley Dunn would go nowhere, and then Bradley Dunn would get into the end zone, touchdown. What a way for him to end his career with a touchdown. Hell of a run by Bradley Dunn, and a hell of a career that he's had for the most part. I know he hasn't played a lot, but still. Ball game there. Let's get into some of these comments real fast. Earl Schubel says John Gruden for the next South Carolina head coach. Nah. I think he would rather he'd rather take an SEC head coaching job than be a coordinator. Kevin Sumlin for the OC position. Absolutely not. Oh my God, no. Please no. No. I would rather have a turd be the OC before Kevin Sumlin gets to be the offensive coordinator again. Absolutely not. He's a pro-style quarterback. If he gets hired, I'm going to probably lose my ish. Quentin Broom says that I'm the man. Now you're the man. Did you subscribe? That's whenever you're the man. He also says, I hope we don't lose Furry to another school as an OC. Now let's get into this. I don't think Mike Furry should be your full-time OC next year. I don't. And I don't think it will happen, in my opinion. It'd be stupid if you consider Mike Furry to be your next OC. I don't think it's smart, and I personally don't think it's very wise if you do this again. What did I tell you? You cannot take a chance on in-staff hiring. Again, it has hurt you before, and it's going to hurt you again. I can't do it again. I'm sorry. No, please don't. Please do not hire Mike Furry and promote him as your new OC. You can't. If you can keep him along as your receivers coach, I would be fine with that. I wouldn't necessarily have a big problem with it. Would I agree with it? I think he's been good at times with receiver development, but you could always do better. That's why I think you need a complete in-house just wipeout. Just a complete redo of cleaning house. I think you have to. If you're going to realistically make these changes and be able to have more success at the OC. James Morris, what's the first thing Beamer needs to do after the Clemson game? You better go out and go spend money in the portal. Because you need depth, bruh. Well, I wouldn't even really consider that the first thing. I'd be begging LaNorris's sellers to stay. Like on my hands and knees, begging him to stay. Because I would be remiss if I didn't think that he wasn't going to stay. I don't believe he is. I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to stay. That's why I say this. And that's why I'm very, very adamant on hammering on 16 staying in the Palmetto State. I'm just being honest with you guys. You want him to stay. So that's number one. That's the number one thing that I would be doing after this Clemson game. Number two would be cleaning house. You have got to find a legit OC. You've got to find a staff. Now, I would also say that certain pieces of this defensive staff also need to go. You need a complete redo in that area. May I remind you of what happened last week? How you may also be considering where the future of your program is with a guy like Clayton White. And this is nothing against Clayton White. I like Clayton White. Do I think that he is going to legitimately lead a top 10 defense consistently? No. Why do I say that? You proved it this year. Your run defense sucked. You got pushed around in the run game, and teams that could run the football on you made sure they did. Vanderbilt did it. Missouri did it. Texas A&M did it in the second half. Ole Miss did it. Oklahoma did it. You know, teams that can effectively run the football, you can't allow for things like that to happen. No Play in De Niro says, play calling was okay. We need a true play calling OC. Yeah. Like I said, De Niro, do me a favor. Go back about 5 minutes and go listen to what I said earlier. Guys, don't – because I told you, people were going to start hopping on the Mike Furry train after today. Y'all were going to say, oh, we put up almost 600 yards of offense. Oh, we did this. We did this. It's a bad football team that you played. They're bad, okay? Don't go crazy and say, oh, we need him as our new head coach and ish. No. You would be very stupid, and that's thinking on emotion. It's like in a relationship. If you think on emotion, bad things are going to happen. If you think on just strictly emotion and not thinking otherworldly and really not thinking realistically, you're gonna get very upset over the course of the year. But let me tell you what your run defenses looked like against teams that can run the football effectively. let's talk about Ole Miss. You gave up 258 yards of rushing, almost 6 yards a carry. Keywan Lacey went for 24 for $167 and averaged 7 yards a carry. Against Texas A&M, they ran for 64 yards, but they were breaking off big plays that came back to bite you. Oklahoma, Torrey Blaylock run for 101 and crap down your neck. Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts ran for over 200 yards combined. They ran for 285 on you. Vanderbilt ran for $146. The bottom line is that your run defense was soft this year. Do I think you're going to beat Clemson next week? Clemson looked really bad. They're bowl eligible, by the way, guys. So you really don't have a lot to play for at this point, except for bragging rights in the state. You can say that you're the best in South Carolina. Whoop-de-doo. Like that's any better. Panthers are finally starting to get their things together with Bryce Young finally developing into a decent quarterback, even though you're 5-5 right now. Or excuse me, 6-5. Best start in almost 10 years. Quentin Broom, I agree we need a new OC, but Furry has the potential as a leader of the offense, motivator, play caller, but needs a quarterback's coach. Now, do I think Mike Furry could eventually elevate himself as a quarterback's coach? I think so. I don't think he's going to be a play caller, though. No. You need a true play caller. You need to not get lazy in the offseason. I'm begging Shane Beamer, go get a play caller. Go get a true signal caller that's not 10 years in the Stone Age. That is 10 years behind when it comes to offensive production. Please go get a true OC. All right. Don't piss us off more than we already are this season. All right. You're already on the hot seat as it is. Go get you a freaking play caller. All right. That's all I got for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on in. Didn't have a whole lot of people here tonight. I mean, it's Coastal Carolina, to be honest with you. I'm not really surprised, though. But you played a bad team, but you got a big win. 579 yards of offense. You needed a game like this. So thank you guys so much for hopping on in. Y'all make sure y'all tune in Tuesday for the second to last edition of South Carolina Live. Thank you guys so much for an incredible season. Let's finish off strong next week. We will see you guys next week. Y'all have a great rest of the night.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.